An Australia without rugby league is not Australia. Rugby league has been a fabric of our society for hundreds of years. It's people's escape, it's people's relaxation, and we need to do everything in order to continue that great tradition of rugby league.
It has been those Australians who have worked hard every day. They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight.
Well, I'm singing, I don't count myself as one of those quiet Australians with a great victory tonight. This week, the last 2 weeks at all, I'm feeling pretty damn low. I think this is a shit-house year, Chris. 2020, I know I'm not Pat Malone here, right?
It hasn't been good, Stephen, and I think you were
irritable,
theorising that the year would just be underlined as bad
Yeah.
if you get a Trump victory.
No. Let's lead up in timeline, shall we? We've had such a rough year, right? Finances have dropped, the markets are doing pretty good, aren't they? Travel is down, the food options are pretty short these days. Then imagine if we got a Melbourne East grand final and then a week later Trump went to victory. I mean, what sort of year would it be? That'd be the cherry, wouldn't it?
That's a bad year.
That's a bad year. And in saying so, I'll just give one last glimmer of hope. We'll talk about that coach pretty soon.
Gee, that looks good.
Is that because you're still a mathematical possibility? I think that you are, actually.
No.
Really? No. Oh, I can't do that. So, it's all music today. I mean, the intro there, of course, is from 1987, a band called Flotsam Jetsam.
Flotsam and Jetsam. Who was in that? They were a star-studded lineup, weren't they?
They were indeed. The keyboard player used to play with David Byrne. The singer didn't play with anybody else.
Wow. But the singer had a particular knack of singing backwards.
Yes, he did.
What was he saying forwards?
He's a technician, he's a geek, he's a nerd.
That's a sensitive topic for Stephen, Denis.
Yeah,
I mean, you remember when Ozzy Osbourne went up for, subliminal messages.
Yeah.
Flotsam Jetsam were disgraced in Australia for what they were encouraging the youth to do.
A tinfoil hat. Because I knew there were messages coming from into outer space.
And you're saying them backwards. I do have a dear friend, Pod. Hi, Pod. Let's cast a Pod. He can say, Nine's Wide World of Sport. You can say that exact phrase backwards. So you record on your phone and you reverse it.
Right.
He'll say it backwards.
I don't
it's
even
beautiful.
think Billy Birmingham can do that. And our special guest today, former director of Newtown Rugby League Club, former head of NRL Digital, current second Canberra Raider, banana in the room, Dave Ray. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Stephen, Kris, Denis. Wonderful to be here with you today.
Can you say wild world of sports in your voice?
I can say a wide world of sports.
That's right. There's actually a thing going around, wide world of synths.
Oh, really?
That? Yeah.
Really?
I think that'd be up your tree.
I'm reading, Classic Pop, that magazine?
Yes.
Eclectic electronic 80s. I'm reading...
Is that your middle names?
Yes. I am reading their feature.
Birth certificate.
Their feature on synth pop.
Synth pop.
And,
Depeche Mode?
Yeah, well, it all starts with Kraftwerk.
Of course.
And Giorgio Moroder.
Not Yellow Magic Orchestra?
No, it doesn't start.
On,
it's an English-centric magazine.
Are you picking up
but
factual
it just
errors,
goes. It just
data
goes
errors?
from there. And you know who figures big in all this?
Bowie.
Sparks.
Sparks. I love Sparks.
The duo.
Yeah,
the
duo,
idea
yeah,
of the duo sort of began with Sparks.
What was their surname again?
The Mail Brothers. Russell
yeah.
and Ron.
Yes, right, yeah. Beautiful.
Did you pick
look
up any factual errors in the article? Have you sent corrections?
It's a very thick tone.
Chris, did you know that they're just about to release yet again a 2020 version of Blue Monday by New Order?
Terrific. That's
Keep your
what we
eyes
need.
peeled, yes.
Here's a bit, Dave, I don't know if you know this piece of trivia, but every time Blue Monday ever gets discussed, because of the die-cut methodology that Peter Saville, the graphic artist, came up for the record sleeve,
Yep.
Factory Records lost about 50p on every copy of the 12-inch single they released because of the expense of the cover.
Yep.
And that wasn't good for them because it was the most successful 12-inch single of all time.
Yeah. But we're still talking about the artwork.
And we're talking about a 2020 version.
But that's wonderful because that's a lot like modern-day music. Spotify, they announced the other day the $100th given to a musician over their 18 years.
The $100.
Terrific. I tell you what, they could redo it Blues Sunday if the Roosters in Melbourne get into the grand final. But if we're going down this route of being fire up's quite Australian, we just don't talk rugby league. Can I share with you, gentlemen, something I've done recently?
By all means, that's what we're here for.
Are there photos? No, I don't want to see.
So I'm behind because I'm busy. I've just listened to the BBC One podcast, 13 Minutes to the Moon, done by Kevin Fong, who was a medico with NASA, and he's gone out 50 years anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing and interviewed the astronauts, the people in mission control, all the people that made it happen.
We weren't there.
We weren't there. I was at school. I think well, maybe they sent us home. I just can't remember.
I was at school, yeah.
And the 13 minutes refers to the fact that when the Eagle has separated from the Columbia and they light the ignition engine, it took the Eagle, the Lunar Excursion Module, or LEM, 13 minutes to get to the lunar surface.
Chris, wait on, how long did it take to get back again?
I think it's actually a bit quicker.
Yeah, and they had a fuel for about 4 more seconds.
So it is absolutely fascinating because there were 12 episodes, and episode 11 is you actually hear the audio from Capcom point of view, which was Charlie Duke, who flew on Apollo 16, and you hear everything that was done. So for the first 5 minutes, there was so much unexpected static that what Houston had to do was speak to Michael Collins in the command module to relay instructions to Armstrong and Aldrin and get it back. Then in the middle part of the descent, they got the program alarms, which was basically the computer saying, I have too much to think about. And a 26-year-old gentleman made the call. We're able to continue to land.
You mean that computer that's about the same chip as a Nokia? Not even before the Apple iPhone?
Well, the iPhone has millions of more times processing power.
That chip.
Papua New Guinea national sport of rugby league national sport of Papua New Guinea.
Only, no.
Yeah. And then, of course, they were concerned that they were slightly overshooting, and Aldrin took over the controls, and they were very concerned about fuel.
So was it manual? Like, was it landing on auto? Was the computer
Yes.
landing it, and then he took over control?
Yep.
Because
And there
they
was
were
some
overshooting.
sort of disturbance in the Tranquility Sea. He had to go further than he was hoping for,
So
wasn't he?
they were just coming down slightly too quickly than what they said. And the guidance computer, originally the guys actually are not in seats, they're sort of upright, and they're looking down at the lunar surface. Then the guidance computer tips it up 90 degrees. And as they were coming down, they could see that they were going to overshoot the intended place, and there was a big crater.
Yeah.
So Armstrong says, manual override, I'm going to fly this baby.
Yeah. That's why he's the boss.
That's right, he's the boss. And then Gene Krantz, the flight controller, says, right, nothing but fuel. Because they realised they were, the guy says, well, I don't want to call it critical, but it's low.
Yeah.
And so they're just calling out 60 seconds of fuel, 30 seconds of fuel. Then they have these big, long things that contact the lunar surface. And they go, contact, kicking up some dust.
How are you sitting?
You're
nervous, right?
I was sweating. and then right at the end, you get Tranquility Base, the Eagle has
It
landed.
wasn't tranquil at all.
Yeah. And the guy
So
goes,
this is 13 minutes of sheer. The
Terrible.
whole
Incredible.
mission depends on that 13 minutes.
and in the end, the Charlie Duke goes, thanks very much, Eagle. You got a lot of guys turning blue. We can all breathe again, etc., etc. It is absolutely absorbing and fascinating. And they had like 19 seconds of fuel left. It took them 13 minutes to go down. And I am proud to announce that we here at Fire Up's Quite Australia, in honour of that series, are releasing our own podcast series.
Yes.
It's called 13 Minutes on GIO Stadium.
Yes.
It's about Sonny Bill Williams and the amazing 13 minutes that he turned in the Roosters
Chris,
Canberra
I was
Clash.
hopping on my seat with anticipation, even before that 13 minutes started. And that 13 minutes was a ride of terror, excitement, thrill.
There will
it
be
was
an
sexually
ABC
arousing.
version,
It was
which is-
everything you'd want from 13 minutes that shook the world, correct?
Exactly.
13
right.
minutes on Bruce Stadium will be the alternate.
Now the
version.
truth, please, Dave. Did you watch that 13 minutes?
I did, and look, I was mesmerised. I mean, when Steve, you talked before about the financial markets at the moment, we talk about COVID and bushfires and climate change. You can honestly see the futures market going up and down every time the camera goes on Sonny Bill. I was like, futures up, away we go. And then, like the Australian dollar lost a cent the moment he walked off the field.
Well, I would have seen it the other way around. To me, he looked like a chook without a head. Did he not? Apart from when he got it out, he took a knee.
He
Took
did
a
take
knee.
a
It was
knee,
his first
did-
touch. It was his first touch.
First, I took an offload.
Well, and in fact, there will be 12 episodes. One entire episode is devoted to that offload pass.
To that descent.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
as he's
right.
As Batty
In
tackles
fact,
him
he was an
down.
analogy for the Eagle. And like the Eagle, they were concerned that Sonny Bill might actually sink into the surface of Canberra Stadium,
And
but
did
it
he
was
have
okay.
a Black Lives Matter?
Well, no, I don't think
Well,
he
there's
did.
quite a connection, though, because, GI Stadium is not that far from Tidbinbilla.
Right, of course.
So, everything works around that way.
And the trivia about that was that everyone goes, the dish, parks, ... But the parks signal was upside down, correct? And they had to switch to Tim and Billa to get the picture of Armstrong coming down the
It was
ladder.
actually Siding Springs.
Thank you.
They were always going to use
Canberra.
Starling Springs.
Not
Honeysuckle Creek. Honeysuckle Creek. What did I say?
And
Honeysuckle Creek. The dish from Honeysuckle Creek was the actual dish. It's now been relocated to Titbinbilla because
Right.
NASA have closed Honeysuckle Creek
And
down.
that's probably the one and only thing Canberra's ever contributed to the world, right?
Pretty much.
Well, 2 and 3.
Apart from the Raiders, like obviously.
Well-
What about the church?
Well, the church, Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
We can put a claim on Midnight Oil.
No, you can't. They went to go into Barker in Warunga, Waitara.
Tim Rogers from UMI.
They formed at ANU.
They went to ANU.
They formed at ANU.
Well, sorry, no. You travel through, you are one of us.
Yeah, I am one of you.
Yeah.
I got no bones to pick with you.
But there were 400,000 people involved in the original Project Apollo, and I not refer to Resumption Day 28th of May to 2020. I talk about the original lunar landing.
Did any actually appear in both?
There is a little bit of an overlap.
Wayne Pearce?
Michael Collins, who was in the command module, was a special consultant on Project Apollo with Junior,
Yeah.
Wayne Bennett, Trent Robinson.
So suddenly it's all making sense. Project Apollo, 50 years ago.
Correct.
The Apollo moon mission. The whole purpose was getting that
Well, last
baby
year.
on the
Correct.
moon. Whereas now, Project Apollo, NRL style, the whole thing, there's that 13-minute descent to the moon. The whole purpose of Project
Was that
Apollo
minute-
was 13 minutes
The other night.
of Sonny Bill Williams
Yeah.
on Bruce Stadium.
400,000 people, Project Apollo originally, 400,000 people involved in bringing Sunnyville
And
to our
about a
TV
bit over
screens.
300,000 watched on Fox.
No, and 400,000 people in Canberra.
Right. So,
Wow.
Population of the
Population.
Whoa.
so one of the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
episodes will go a deep dive into the fact that the final Fox League figures are out, which includes Go Now and KO. 468,000 viewers so far. So we're looking for 99.5 million rough.
Missing.
Missing from the Dean Ritchie $100 million.
And wasn't
100
there,
million
wasn't there
spectators.
$100 million of eyeball advertising
32
revenue?
32 million.
32, is that all?
Whereas for the
That may have been, but if you were in international, that little big in Japan, Papua New Guinea, some resident in Ohio going, geez, Sunnyville can't wait, and you're tuning it on. And of course, the way rugby league runs itself, shoots itself in the foot. You're watching, you're waiting, everyone's going, is he going to come on? Because I was looking to see him get hurt. Am I a bad person? Really? Because my belief is that every time a rugby league player goes to union, they shine because, well, it's easier.
Softer.
Plenty more room to run around and show your wares. Come back, you get smashed, right? I was waiting for that moment when he got smashed. Now, it didn't happen, of course.
No, he did get smashed, but the second best thing happened, Steve. You know what happened to Sonny Bill?
What?
He got gassed.
Yeah, gas.
Gas.
He looked completely lost. Like there was already a line, and he didn't fit anywhere. Didn't know
Were
what-
you hoping that he would have been like one of the great rugby union converts, that he was the new Brett Papworth?
He was trying to show his commitment early, though, defensively, because he was racing up out of the line trying to tackle anything.
breaking the line. Yeah,
That's right. And as Buzz Rothfield so beautifully put it last night on NRL 360, he said he looked like an exit missile. Which I think,
Exit missile.
which is the lesser known version of what was involved in the
Exorcist.
Falklands
The
War.
Exorcist that sank the General
No,
Belgrano.
in the Iraq
Yes.
that was the Iraq thing, was it?
No, the Exocet was the airborne missile that sunk the Belgrano.
in
Yeah.
the
And
Falklands
I'm
War.
assuming they're heat seeking as well as radar, as well as
I think they're just radar.
Is
no
it-
Bluetooth.
The Exocet. 82, they probably didn't have Bluetooth. They might have had a red iPhone. Because that was when Def Leppard was singing about red iPhones.
And you know,
The
Rupert,
YouTube version.
and Rupert Murdoch says the only headline he's ever regretted was the gotcha on the Sun when the Belgrano sank, which is a very,
The only
very
one.
hard element.
The only one.
They're the only one. Everything else, fine.
So can we brand this as a major disappointment for the Roosters?
Not in the slightest. Look, so he's on 150,000 for the 4 games.
Yeah, good for
That's
him.
37,500 per game.
Yeah.
13 minutes. That comes out at $2,884.62 a minute. Roughly $50
In
a
these
second.
difficult, trying times when most people are suffering
50 bucks
financially.
a second. So just think
Jesus
50,
Christ.
100, 152. That's
Yeah.
the Sonny Bill
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah.
Now, if we're not taking it by times, we're taking it by work rate. He got 4 hit-ups, 5 tackles, 1 offload. Let's call those his stats. That's 3,750 per stat. 11 fantasy points, 3,500 per fantasy point. This is money very well spent, clearly. The Roosters have done a
Yeah.
great job.
Great
here.
job, yeah.
You haven't answered the question yet, Dennis. Are you in a relationship?
I've answered it 3 times. Why are you denying it? Yes.
I'm just wondering out loud.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all watched it, and the broader context was: is Canberra legitimate in this 2020 NRL season? Because you've had your difficulties. It looks like you threw a lot at the Roosters, and they threw it right back at you. How did you guys see it?
Well, let's go to Ricky, who straight up said they scored 2 try from kicks. They had 1 line break. You've got the Premiers, 1 line break. So we're up there. okay, one line break, that was the deal. 18-6, nothing. We scored it for a kick. You know, as far as footy goes, they're right up there.
Yeah, and look, I have the embarrassing disadvantage in my house of being the father of a 17-year-old rational child who sits there and explains to me, look, I think we have to be realistic, Dad. Why? And he goes, well, we've lost to the Roosters, Melbourne, Parramatta and Penrith. And I'm like, go to your room.
Does this rational child also say, Dad, the referee can't hear you on the TV?
Well, he also gets annoyed and said, look, stop criticising Braith and Astor. I know he's not a doctor.
Well, that was also Ricky Stewart in the post-match presser was asked vis-a-vis Josh Papali, and I think the good news is on the AC joint that it was an AC/DC joint and he's able to play. But he was asked the question by the press, are you concerned about Josh Papali's shoulder? And Ricky thought about it and he came back and he goes, concerned.
The words were, how concerned are you?
That's right.
And he came back with concern.
And then if you...
on a level of, on a scale of 0 to concern.
Yeah. He's no
concerned.
Banjo Patterson.
Oh, he is. What do you mean? Banjo. It's wisdom in few words. That's
Yes.
beautiful.
But
Yes.
didn't he whisper
Haiku.
after that, I'm not a doctor? Because
But, Chris, you're smiling.
I am, Stephen.
The Tigers, can you sing a few lines of your song?
It's the eye of the tiger. It's the, you know,
Is that your theme song, is it?
well, you know, this is the trouble when you merge. You know, all those old-timey songs. I think the Balmain Tigers was to the tune of Bizet's Carmen, I think. Here come the tiger. Da, 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 da. But it no longer plays in the joint venture.
It's no Les Gock,
Yeah.
We Are the Green Machine.
And so we've sort of devolved to Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. And it's a little upsetting because in the mid-90s when we were the Sydney Tigers, those two wonderful years, 95 and 96, they actually came up with their own unique theme song, Stripes Across My Heart.
Oh, I like it.
I like it too, but it would be insulting to our
Wind
masters,
beneath my
i.e.
wings.
Western suburbs, to try and revive that
That's
song.
very ferry across the Mersey.
Yeah.
I have it on...
Stripes, because
I have
that
it-
applies to Magpies as well, surely.
Sorry?
Magpies have stripes, sort of, don't
Well,
they?
yeah,
Sort of.
yeah, Collingwood, yeah.
Splashy buds,
Yeah,
sort of.
anyway.
Hollywood Magpies, yes,
Anyway.
but you haven't merged with them, have you?
No.
That's
but-
only in Rugby League, the musical. That, yeah.
Correct.
No, during the semi-final period, Magpies are just too busy swooping people. They
That's
don't bother
right.
going to the final.
That's right, but I have it on Kasingle.
Yeah,
Maybe
good.
I'll bring it in one day. So I'm
You ventured
smiling.
to Lotto Land.
Yes.
Which
Well, I
was-
wasn't there.
No, but my
unusually.
experience last year
I
with the
was.
finals is that Lotto Land is a great place for a final. I don't know about for a regular game. How did it feel?
I thought you were about to say it's a great place for a fight because it was right in
It's a
front
great
of
place
you.
for a fight too, yeah.
The drunken patrons got a little
Oh,
bit
with
of
the
Yeah.
mobile
rowdy.
phone. Yeah.
So you won Dewey
Yes.
in the last second.
Well, Dennis was there. I mean, what was the atmosphere like, Dennis?
Atmosphere. It was like a balloon had a needle put into it about 90 seconds from the end.
Ouch.
It was a remarkable game. The first half was actually a lot of fun. As an independent observer, it was a lot of fun, the game. Manly were all over them. So you say about the winning with, what, 30% ball?
No NRL team can win. NRL team can win with 32% of the ball,
32%.
except the West Tigers.
In the first 12 minutes, they'd had one set,
Yeah.
and that was a lost ball.
Yeah.
So they hadn't had a single tackle in 12 minutes, and Manly were 12
Well,
nil up.
I think the actual tackle count when Manly went up 8-0 and restarted was like, and they had another set. It was 54-8.
Yeah.
So that was a preponderance of possession, and then we found our way back. And I think you'll find with 12 minutes to go, we trailed by 16
But what was
points.
the
Yes.
magic? Who was the cause of the turnaround? Who's your hero?
Look, I mean, I don't want to get all analytical, but
Just a tad.
look, I thought Luke Brooks, who has actually confirmed today or yesterday that Madge Maguire has says, you are our future. And he goes, so I now have clarity that I am here as of now. Luke Brooks started
He
to
lives in the moment.
play a bit of footy, run hard.
He's got a big head, hasn't he?
But obviously,
Can
Can we also point out about 20 minutes from the end,
Matt Damon style.
Manly lost 3 outside backs.
Yes.
So they've got forwards playing in the outside backs.
Yeah, there was a reshuffle.
So there was a little reshuffle.
There was a
So
reshuffle.
that-
But Fanua Blake and Tapau had returned to the fray, and suddenly Manly were looking good, and they got the big lead. Our totem is David Nofaluma. Yeah. I mean, if
Okay.
he's not in the Origin, I'm no
Have you got a hat?
pundit.
You'll eat it?
Yeah, I'll eat it.
Sorry, Origin Bolter.
The Origin Bolter. Yeah. Smoky. And obviously Adam Dewey had a terrific night out, 2 tries, including the AFL, dare I say it, take to seal the game, and kicking under enormous pressure from the sideline with Manly fans absolutely giving it to the kid.
But
Which
the
kid?
Manly fans, again, the
Dewey.
Manly fans
Dewey.
giving it to him,
Yeah.
all they are is lonely legs. Or, come on, Manly.
No, didn't you hear the audio? Did you hear the audio of this, Dave?
No, I haven't heard
So
it yet.
the first sideline conversion he took where the ball actually fell off the mound, there was a guy right behind him on the fence going, mate, it's pointing too far to the left. You've got to take it to the right. And then
Was that Braithen Astor?
That's right.
I'm a mathematics major.
It might have been Megan Barnard, actually, I think. And then it fell off the mound, and he puts it, he goes, mate, now it's pointing too far to the right. You've got to bring it back to the left.
That is good.
And he kicks it, and he turns around, blank stare, and then just a little smile comes across his face. And all the pressure came off because apparently Moses Mbai, who had a good job in the number 1 jersey at fullback, had said, I'm a bit tight in the hammies. Adam, you've got to kick. It was a game day decision.
Wow.
Not everyone was there, though.
So Dewey dumped by South, or did he walk for another reason? What's the
Latrell.
story there? Latrell pushed him out.
Look
where they are now.
He made the decision that there was no room for me.
Because he was only going to get centre money. He wanted fullback.
Correct. And we all want fullback money.
I want fullback money. Yeah. Well, this is quite Australia.
Well, could we
Have we
just
got
quickly
more?
talk about one more thing about that game?
Oh,
Which
how
one?
could I forget the most important moment of the game was, okay, it's generally considered, I think, a club rule that every player committed to the team has to sit in the sideline and watch in their suit generally. Am I correct there? A
Club
good team?
colours of some sort.
Club colours, yeah. What happened, Chris?
Well, Russell Packer and Josh Reynolds.
Is this the same Russell Packer that openly weed on Lang Park in a show of disrespect?
Well,
many years ago?
I don't think it was
AGSM graduate.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
He turned his life around.
Yeah.
Courtesy of the Dragons.
Russell's been on a journey, but look, if Lang Park can be pissed on by Don McKinnon, if it's good enough for Don
Sacred
McKinnon,
turf.
it's good enough for Russell Packer.
I'm with him.
And Joshy Reynolds, who's, let's face it, he's had quite the year. They both absented themselves in the second half. Now, the cynics would say
Absented themselves.
left the environs of
Yes.
Lotto Land.
Was there an announcement a la Elvis Presley?
So all of a sudden there was a horn fanfare.
Reynolds and Packer have left the building. Can you imagine the sound?
Now, Dennis, you got some intel that Packer, in fact, went to his car?
And that wasn't my intel. That
Yes.
was your intel.
No, I
was Dave's
had
intel.
seen that earlier today, that apparently, according to reports, that they had the session as a team today. I don't know if the phrase "it's not his go" was mentioned at any point. But yeah, ultimately, apparently, Russell Packer went out to the car, watched it on his phone because the cold weather affects the arthritis in his foot.
Jesus.
Right.
Whereas Josh Reynolds is alleged to have left the ground altogether.
Right.
In
well, okay.
support
Yeah.
of the arthritis in his foot.
Yeah.
So both are explicable. First of all, the kid's got to look after his condition. Of
course.
And secondly, Josh Reynolds, like the rest of us, had been so influenced by all the hype, he had to get home to see Sonny Bill.
13 minutes.
That's right.
13 minutes of hype.
I also thought it was potentially the PTSD by the fact that the players were told to drive their cars there. And as we know, the premise is that you've got to be on the bus.
Not the
So-
Tigers anymore, mate.
Well, I mean, that kind of, you can't shock the system that much and think that few people aren't going to go silly.
This is all about self-determination and getting rid of the Cleary era. And so a number of players have had to get driver's licenses as a result of this because no West Tigers player is allowed on a bus under any way, shape or form going forward.
Oh, why is that? Because they're not in the
Because the
bubble.
Cleary thing. Because
Cleary on the bus.
Because Cleary has
Remember.
the pink,
And that was
the pink
what-
party bus out
Yeah.
at Penrith getting arrested for
Yeah.
COVID breaches.
Right. So much for the bubble.
As I always say, it was all very good for Ivan to say get on the bus. It's just that he got off at Penrith Stadium. I still haven't
Right.
forgiven him.
And of
for
course, Dean Young famously came out with a line the other night.
That's why he didn't get the job as the St George coach, which I
That-
think we're about to come to after the
Yeah,
break.
about buses.
Because he said that we need to get all parts of the club together on the bus, and you could see the interview committee just marking his papers.
Yeah. Bus reference, gone. Geez, I'm feeling hungry, Chris. Let's come back.
We will.
Quiet Australia Volume 2.
But you know what? You know what we're going to do here.
We got
What
more.
are we going to do here?
Dennis, you have
Yep.
a new album out.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's not that new. It's I've released some of the original songs from Rugby League the musical. Boy, what are we going to play? I wouldn't have a clue what
Just
to play.
pick a track and we'll play
Okay,
it.
you know, I'm going to play. This is my favourite song off the album. It's probably
lovely.
the least popular.
Okay.
It's about a journeyman, Luke Burt. And when I was asked to write it, I was commissioned to write a song for his retirement. And I write, try and find funny things about people. I interviewed so many people. I went around the whole joint at Parramatta to find funny, damning stories about him.
Anecdotes, yeah.
And there was nothing.
Is this like Andrew Abdo?
Absolutely
Very much like
nothing.
No funny
So I
stories.
did the, went ancient Greek, did a mock epic. So that's what this one is.
Wonderful. We'll be back in just a moment. Quiet Australia. Straight after Dennis Carnahan's
Ballad of Luke Burt.
Ballad of Luke Burt. Great.
He came from the north many years ago, with eyes almost blue and hair of gold. a golden child, 17 years old, just a boy. 71 kilos is all Bertie weighed, the third skinniest debutante to play first grade. Built more like a 2-iron or a jockey, they said. He's just a boy, he's just a boy. His teammates would talk about cars and romance, but Bertie just talked about SpongeBob SquarePants. The old players wondered how he'd have a chance. They'd say, he's just a boy, he's just a boy. He loved to play fullback, but he was stuck on the wing behind Hodgson, Shafovsky, and Wade McKinnon. He got his chance in 07, but his knee gave in. Ooh, just a boy, he's just a boy. He never played for the Blues or the Kangaroos, though his feet, they were swift, and his boot, it was true. He played all his career wearing the gold and the blue. Just a boy, he's just a boy. Big Wendell declared him unsledgeable, while his speed made his runs indefensible. Off the field he was always so sensible, but still just a boy, he's just a boy. He doesn't dress like a woman, and he's not covered in tattoos, and his pants never fall down. He's never put in a shoe. Now Bertie's retired, no more will he play. His long blonde hair's gone, that's the Eels legend's way. But with his point-scoring record, no more will they say. He's just a boy, he's just a boy. He's not just a boy, not just a boy.
Thank you very much, Dennis Carnahan. What a great song, The Ballad of Luke Burt. Now, I'm feeling really hungry, and sometimes, as I said last week, a la Sinatra style, my favourite food of the whole world is Italian. Everybody does. No one dislikes Italian. If you go to get a pizza, Dennis, what type of pizza, not brand, what type of pizza do you like?
Capricciosa. Nice and simple.
Yes, yes.
Just a bit of mushroom,
Yeah.
bit of pepperoni, bit of capsicum, bit
Artichoke?
of olive.
No artichoke?
No, not necessarily.
No,
You could. And capriccio, the caprese, some people call it. It's
Yes,
a pretty... It's a fairly broad church, the caprese.
You, Dave?
I tend to be more of a supreme person, but avoid anchovies at all costs.
Supreme.
Avoid anchovies. I love anchovies. I will get to you in a minute.
Okay.
You-
Who are you? What's your favourite?
I'm a gambari, prawn.
Oh,
Simple.
gambiri.
Gambari.
Nice.
Is that because they're sort of red and white stripes like the dragon?
Exactly.
Or they're bottom feeders.
Yeah. A bit of rocket on top. I like a bit of rocket, you know. And what about you, Chris? Because I know you're a big pizza fan.
Pepperoni and pineapple, Stephen. And as you know...
One cooling, one hot heating.
That's right, yeah. Maybe a bit of chili thrown in. And as you know, Doughboy Pizza have come on as a sponsor of Fire Up's Quite Australia.
I do know that.
And I'm already all in on this, guys. So
Is that something knocking at the door with pizza?
Yeah. Well, you talk about hungry. After we finish recording this podcast, I'm going home. I've got 4 mates coming over, and have a guess what we're going to do.
Well, I think you've pre-ordered already, Doughboy.
Yes.
I think you've lined it up.
Because we're going to watch the replay of West Tigers versus Manly Warringah from last Saturday.
Yay.
And
So we shouldn't tell you the result then.
Short-term memory.
Rugby league, watching your team is infinitely better when you know the result and you've won.
100%.
It's heaven.
particularly when you get behind.
I thought you were going to say with a pizza.
So I've got 4 mates
absolutely.
coming. I have pre-ordered. You go to the doughboypizza.com.au website.
Yeah.
You work out whether you're in the delivery area, be it Bondi, North Bondi, Artarmon. You can select your pizzas. You can customise them. You've got the thin and crispy classic
Have
base.
they got an app?
They've got an app. I
Yay.
hope they've got an app. Spelt or, of course, gluten-free. And then this is really exciting. You can edit your pizza. So my partner, not a big fan of garlic, and she loves a margarita.
Right.
And she likes a vegetarian pizza.
But
And
isn't margarita or garlic pizza?
so
Isn't that
she's
Tomato.
so we've
sauce.
edited the pizza, no garlic oil. So that's how
Basil.
precise Doughboy can be. So we are going to have footy,
Yeah.
Doughboy, Ultimate Joy,
Yeah.
Tigers 34, Manly 32, doughboypizza.com.au, get on board.
33.
If you enter in the code FIREUP,
Yep.
caps or lowercase Dave, 20% off.
20%.
And it works.
20%. Wow.
Is there an
I've already done it. It's already ordered.
there-
7:15 is
So-
arriving tonight.
Exclamation point? Or
you-
just fire up?
No exclamation
If
point.
you order
Just
5 pizzas, one's free.
That's exactly
How
right.
about that? See, my mathematics are as good as yours, Dennis.
And that's and just
When it
to
comes to discount, that's your Scottish heritage, isn't it?
well, just to point out how cheap I am, you notice I mentioned 4 mates.
They're all chipping in. And there's a capricciosa on there with double smoked ham, sautéed mushrooms, roasted capsicum, Kalamata olives, topped with pesto and fresh basil.
Kalamata, lovely.
And the
Yes.
tutto with the lot there, yeah, and you have the option to delete the anchovies. As you said, you can edit your pizza.
And we will be, over the balance of the season, we're going to come up with a prize, a $50 pizza voucher. Name your favourite NRL pizza. At the moment, they've only got who's that dude that used to play for Carlton and West Coast? Judd. Some guy, AFL, something
Yeah,
like that.
Kris Judd.
They've got a Judd. So come up with your NRL themed pizza. I mean, automatically you think about the Bennett and what might be on it.
It'd be lean. It'd be thin, crispy.
Very thin and
Yeah.
crispy.
Yep. if you ask what's on it, he'd tell you one story and it'd arrive with a whole bunch of other things.
One ingredient.
Still, we could talk about Doughboy Pizza forever, Stephen, and that would be avoiding
Can I just
the
say,
hot off the press news.
I remember when Fox News first broke through and this term culture wars developed over a period of time. Left or right, conservative, liberal, red or blue. Different
Which team
countries
are you
use
on?
different terms. Which team? And it was those that we thought were forward thinking, liberal,
Progressive.
and generous spirited, lovable sort of types versus those that were hanging on to the past and I guess would vote conservative because they were fearful. They didn't like strangers. They didn't like different coloured skins.
Don't
races.
like change.
Don't like
Wayne's World.
change, yeah.
We fear change.
Well, that path has been well worn, and it just gets more and more sort of trodden, I think. And I think we're in dangerous territory now with elections and COVID lockdowns, and we talk about Pete Evans, we talk about conspiracy theories, we talk about Huawei and 5G and Bill Gates, what an evil man he is, that sort of stuff, And the Dragons have chosen a man that we nicknamed Tinfoil. Mr. Anthony Griffin, step on in, I mean, I'm looking for any change at all. I can tell you that as a Dragons
Who
supporter.
does Pete Evans follow in the league?
He's going to coach the Brisbane Broncos next year.
Is that right?
He's
That's
the
right.
front
We
runner.
announced it, didn't we?
I thought that it was the Cronulla Hawks.
No.
And this is
So we go from Peter Jendal to Peter Evans.
and this is to do with this is what Volandis is going on about with the rugby league being vegetarians.
He did his training at the Byron Bay Wombats, right?
That's
He's
right.
moving upwards now.
So Hook Griffin, pedigree, Penrith and Brisbane. Any perspective on him as a rugby league coach before we get? Because I think the political perspective is very interesting.
Yeah, we know the reason why he left Brisbane, the second coming, Wayne Bennett coming back and everything.
Can't fight that.
But I desperately want to know the true story of the Penrith departure. I mean, it's the, sorry to bring rugby union up, David Nucifora at the Brumbies all those years ago. Teams screaming favourites and 6 weeks out from the finals, ankle him and they still win the title. It's like, well, it's the players. I want to know the reason. Like, you talked about Apollo 13. I want to know the Area 51 story about what happened up at Penrith.
Was it just that he was coaching and Gus didn't like that? Because Gus was the boss.
But
And Gus is like, you're in my kitchen.
That's
you follow
too
my recipe.
simple. It's too simple.
But it's that's
And yet the weird
that's
thing is-
Occam's razor. Come
We
on.
could throw in the fact that the Dragons Paul McGregor went to Gus Gould to get a report done, the report which we've never heard, never seen, never will be revealed.
And which Gus said didn't actually happen.
Yeah, and that Griffin name didn't seem to sort of float through that if there was such a fallout.
The Gus review, he's now confirmed it was never a review. It was just a few conversations. But we can guarantee.
Was it dialogue, Chris?
So it would like Barnaby Joyce's flood review. A couple of text messages to the Prime Minister.
It was a ventilation of views.
He was busy.
Unlike the studio. And I think that certainly Hook's name didn't come up, but I think the answer to the question that you ask is out there, Dave, X-Files style. So this battle is actually, we talk about the polarity in society that concerns you, Stephen.
Yeah.
And this battle lines have been drawn on traditional lines. So it's basically Murdoch versus Nine.
Yeah.
So on Fox League last night, the likes of Kent, Rothfield, Hooper are saying, we welcome Anthony Griffin. It's a tremendous appointment. We've had him as a special guest host on Fox League for a number of years.
Yeah.
He'll have learned that it's not just about coaching, it's about handling the media and man management, ... And they said other sections of the media have conducted a campaign against the gentleman. A couple of hours later on 100% Footy, Andrew Webster from the Nine Media says Fox League has conducted a campaign against us for writing the story that, and Webster says, I've spoken to many Penrith identities, they were off him. They were off him. He says, I'm just telling the truth. Now, Danny Whiteley's waded in. And
he's with the Nine camp.
he is.
And they're the liberal free-thinking hippies, right?
Absolutely.
Latte
He's the Pete
sucking.
Evans. He's the Pete Evans of rugby league media.
Prosecco drinking,
Communists.
Communists, a lot of them. Socialists.
No.
God
Sorry,
forbid.
no. That's your lefty lynch mob at the ABC.
That's gone too far.
Right, that's right. That's Denis. No, and
Strangely sitting to my right, which is very unusual.
All the way around the
and
table to your left.
And Weiler's done an analytical piece in the Sun Herald on Sunday morning about Griffin's social media activity.
That I wasn't aware of, and I don't think those that were reviewing in the process even asked for social media review, and yet that would suggest they're behind the times, a little backward.
Well, first of all, in his social media account, he's liked tweets from Donald Trump, Pauline Hanson.
Oh no, Kris, don't tell me that.
He's
Mark
liked
Latham.
Mark
Oh
Latham.
no, that's getting worse.
A lot of Sky News as well.
That's right.
Oh no,
Paul Murray. And when
Late Night with Sky.
And two things that emerged in the article, Stephen, was first of all, when questioned, he says, "Well, my daughter runs my social media account," so there's that usual excuse.
Yeah. I wouldn't know what she put up there.
And Dave, we'll get you to comment on social media and certain
Is there an
impact in
actual
rugby league in a
daughter?
moment.
An actual daughter?
Well,
We don't know her name.
Could be a bot.
Could be a bot, yeah.
And secondly, apparently the Dragons were well aware of his social media account, which has now disappeared, Dave, I understand.
Well, I mean, look, the plot thickens here.
Does.
Why did he leave Penrith? Where's the social media account? Show us the daughter.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we're going into the rabbit hole here. Like, I can feel my tinfoil hat forming potentially from the wrapping from a Doughboy pizza.
The long arms of Vladimir Putin here.
Sorry, out of intelligence recently, is it China, Iran, or Russia?
Or North
Which
Korea.
country is interfering
North
on
Korea.
behalf of
Yeah.
So when we put the ultimate question to Gus, he says, "Gus, what is Anthony Griffin like as a coach?" And Gus goes, "Well, I'm not prepared to comment. He's got a wonderful family. I wish him all the best."
Yeah.
And
He is the Stephen Bradbury of rugby league, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Everybody else falls around him, he just keeps hanging in there.
And look, let's face it, St George, prior to the merger with Illawarra, had a proud record in this area. I think Ross May from the National Socialists was a big...
Don't you start.
But Stephen, does it
We
really...
had one guy called Skull, and we're tainted for the rest of our lives.
So assuming the Griffin is the right of Genghis Khan, but you win the comp in 2022, is it all worth it?
Yes, it is. You bet it is. Winning is everything, isn't it?
Well, Mark Latham is a major Dragons fan, you remember? So,
And John Howard.
Johnny Howard. It's a
But also,
glittering array.
I walk counter with Brian Brown, my good family. Yes, indeed. Well, look, once again, it's a mystery to me.
But you're over the moon about him becoming your coach.
No, I'm over the moon about some change happening. I'm a forward-thinking change person, first and foremost. So that's all that excites me at this point in time. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for about 2 weeks. And then look at the webpage, it'll be like, knives out.
Will you be able to dig out your House Douse T-shirts and everything and see if...
Well, apparently Douse has been reorganised. He's coming back on the board, Kris.
Yes, on the St George side.
He's got a full circle somewhere.
Mary as well?
No doubt.
Is Mary buried or is he he's
Matt
back
Cooper's
in there?
the other-
I spoke to the dude last year who had those two wonderful banners, Fail Mary and Step Down McGregor.
So he wasn't Barry Mary.
No, it was Fail Mary and Step Down McGregor, which it still to me just sounds like a funk song from the 70s.
Yeah.
Step down.
Now,
There's an article
Kris,
here from the Courier Mail in 2011 that mentions Hook has two daughters. So there is corroborating evidence. Now,
There
the
is
Courier
daughters,
Mail is a
Wonderful.
News Limited.
Okay.
So it's on the internet, so it's true.
Yeah.
It's on the Courier Mail website,
And if
so
I
it's
could
true.
say one, if you're looking at sort of numbers and voodoo and stuff, 10 years ago we won with another Queenslander.
Well,
What can I say?
let's face it. You've won one premiership in 40 years with an outsider, and all these insiders, be they McGregor, Price, the Brown Polish,
And your stats?
it's no better. But
1 in 20.
but there's a pattern in St George. It's a pattern of recurrent failure.
I would call it loyalty.
And if it involves bringing out a tinfoil hat to win a premiership, I can kind of see your argument.
Yeah. The St George Illawarra tin hats. Get on board, eh? Big time. Now, look, I went to the Gold Coast not long back when there was that little window opened up where Palaszczuk, I think she was beholden by the magic of Freddie Fittler's twinkling eyes.
Yes, right.
She said, all right, we'll let you in. We'll let you in for a little while. I ducked up there, and it's been at least 30 years since I've been to the Gold Coast. Massive changes, as you can imagine, Chris. And I have been to the stadium, but not actually the Gold Coast. And I went up there. Cavill Avenue was still where I first went there as a kid. There was a little offshoot road, and there must have been about half a dozen or a dozen nightclubs of various sorts. The Tipsy Pig was one that took my attention. Hollywood Showgirls was another one, Triple X Ladies, all that sort of stuff,
I went to Sin City on a buck
Sin
night.
City, did
And
you?
I think I've mentioned this before. It's the great thing about a nightclub in the Gold Coast when they reopen.
Yeah.
It's the only place you can turn up at the front door where the security guys are. And they go, how many in your party, boys? And we go, 28. And they go, come
Beautiful
on in.
coming in. Yeah, we love you.
Yeah.
Drink up.
Yeah.
Drink up. Now, AFL can't even get an atrocity right. Chris, they tried. They broke the bubble. They've got a bubble too.
Yes.
They allowed up Palaszczuk. Let them in.
Yes.
What, a week later?
Well, I mean, they've been up for a while, haven't they? But it was there's a team apparently called the Richmond Tigers,
The Richmond Tigers.
which is a bit of a branding issue.
Yeah.
And what I love about these guys is their alliterative names. Callum Coleman Jones. And then I would say we'd like this guy's name if he
Coleman,
was
did you say?
Coleman. We'd like this guy if he was playing rugby league. Sydney Stack. What a great name.
Sydney Stack.
Wow,
Yeah.
Stacky.
And of course, the media goes into meltdown, social media included. 2 Richmond Tigers, break bubble, fight in a strip club.
Break bubble, get into an Uber,
Yep.
go up to that offshoot street off Cavill Avenue.
So, if I may, there was a big pylon and it was stacks on the mill.
Absolutely.
Bang!
Hollywood Showgirls. It's like that is a rugby league atrocity writ large. Turns
And
out
for
to be a
per-
false dawn.
From
no.
my experience, not one of those nightclubs, not one of those strip clubs were open.
Of course not.
They're not allowed to be open.
Yeah. It's what they always say on Media Watch. No fact checking.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't get New South Welshmen into the place, you can't open a strip club, for God's sake. So
So
what's
the-
going on?
So the AFL have turned up. They've gone, okay, we're in Queensland. Let's just copy the NRL playbook. Manly,
need some press. Good
the
press.
boardroom. The boardroom in
There's no Sunnyvale.
Gladstone. No, they're
Yeah.
just thinking boardroom in Gladstone. Manly went there. They had a fight. It was
Yeah.
a strip club. This is great. This is what we need. And they've tried to copy it, and they've failed.
Was this at Warner World, maybe? They made a mock strip club at Warner World. And they filmed the whole thing. Fake stuff.
Warner Movie World.
Fake
Warner
music.
Movie World.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So what are you saying?
Green
Wasn't a
screen
strip club?
strippers. Right.
I'm just struggling to remember the director of Showgirls, but it is
Oh, Paul Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It is regarded now as an absolute cult classic. That movie.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what they did. Well, unfortunately, they couldn't find Warner's Movie World because it was sort of out on the Inland Highway. So they ended up at the fighting with a group of people at the kebab shop outside the
That's-
Tipsy Pig and the Showgirls.
That's rugby league.
Well, is it really? I mean, a rugby league atrocity would be full-on brawl in the strip club. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
be just out
yeah.
the front
No,
in front of a kebab shop.
Stomp on a head.
over a Euros.
Fight a policeman.
But I mean,
Glass someone.
Glass somewhere.
But
Urinate
I
somewhere.
blame the Queensland Premier because I dare say in Russ Hins's days,
Yes.
all those periods back then. I mean,
They were-
the red carpet would have been rolled out, COVID or not.
Oh,
Russ and Joe just would have said, pre-Fitzgerald inquiry days, away we go.
Yes, Palaszczuk. Naysayer.
But I also think, look, I remember as a kid, the sort of the inland highways, Denis knows, the family holiday up to the Gold Coast, that my parents, when I was a kid, the entertainment we were taken to was to go and see Jesus Christ Superstar at Seagulls Leagues Club. And it was the Trevor
We played
White
that
era.
last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
did for the arrival of Sonny Bill.
So-
For us, it was just the chocolate-coated banana at Big Banana.
Exactly. So-
Mini putt-putt.
So therefore, why is that not being done by Anastasia Palaszczuk about should she not be bringing a whole bunch of Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals back to
yeah.
entertain the players? I
Yeah.
mean, bit
Or
of
could I
Starlight
say
Express.
Rugby League, the musical.
Yes.
And
Hello.
let's hear a song from
Hello, Anastasia.
Dennis, Rugby League, the musical.
Oh, shit. What are we going to play now? What's on there? You know what? We'll play. Everyone loves a Queenslander, Queensland's favourite son, Gordon Tallis. And I wrote this little tribute song to Gordon about a decade ago.
Now this here is a song about a man you all know, and his head's on every TV show. His name's Gordy. He's not real quick and he's not real small, but he's as angry as he is bald. That's Gordy. Gordy.
The raging bull. Gordy. His swear jar's always full.
Now he thinks Queensland's real good, but he's not so fond of Hollywood. Hollywood Harrigan, that is. He don't like New South Wales fans. Hell, he'll take on everyone in the stands. That's Gordy. Gordy, the raging bull. Gordy, his sweat jar's always full.
What's about it over there? Go and take 10.
We are back, Dennis. That was a great song of yours. Fantastic.
What was it again?
From Cats, right? Rugby League, the musical. Denis Carnahan. Come on down. Look, I've just been reminiscing with the boys here about Mount Kosciuszko and Jordan Rapana and having a great old chinwag about all that stuff.
Rapana. And it sounds
Rapana
so
to me.
much better when you emphasise. Same as Manuka.
Yeah.
The people talk about Manuka.
No,
That's the Pakeha way of saying it. They always emphasise the first syllable.
Do you know
So
what
it's
he's talking about?
Manuka.
Is that some sort of honey?
Well, it's actually a flower. It was going to be the state flower of the state of New Zealand when New Zealand joined the Australian Federation, both in 1901, then they decided against it. Then in 1913, they decided against it. So that was why it was going to be, New South Wales state flower, the Waratah, the tilapia. Yeah. And if you go to Canberra, you'll find around City Hill, around Parliament House, Sydney Avenue ends at Tilapia Park.
Right.
Brisbane, Perth Avenue ends at Kangaroo Park, which is Kangaroo Paw.
Yes, right.
Then you've got Wellington Avenue ended at Manuka Oval, because Manuka was the state flower.
Right.
Wellington's the state capital.
Right.
But then New Zealand didn't join the Federation, so they've renamed Wellington Avenue Canberra Avenue.
Right, lovely.
So I look
That's why Manuka's
at
there.
Denis and I think Floriade, and I look at Dave and I think Summer Nats.
Can I just go?
and therein
Dave,
lies culture.
were you born in Canberra?
Born and raised, yes.
Born and raised,
Born in Canberra Hospital, Valet, now
school?
no longer exists. I went to St Matthew's College in Page, the alma mater of Paddy Mills of the San Antonio Spurs.
yeah.
But my high school, Darramullin, the alma mater of Matt Frawley,
Nick
Cameroon's
Kyrgios.
player, and Nick Kyrgios.
Curious, right?
What do you? Yeah,
Hasn't
the Eagle
Kyrgios
Boys.
stepped up the game recently?
Oh, he's been
Hasn't he, what?
fantastic.
Mate.
He speaks for all quiet Australians.
Where
now.
would I sit in, like 5 years, 10 years, 30 years detention for...
Mate, and also doing his part-time, car towing work outside the Old Canberra Inn as well.
Right,
He does.
part-time.
See, I schooled at Dixon College just across the park from,
Yeah, I know.
from Darramullin, which is the alma mater of Troy Thompson, former Raider, and a couple of others.
Yeah, I think I win.
There was a former Union player, Stephen Larkham.
Stephen Larkin, yes, but also...
The rules are you
and
two
there was
guys
also-
don't talk together.
And there was
That's the
also
rule, right?
James Hurd from the AFL. There you go. There's a big name. He was a Dixon College
Yeah,
boy.
I'm sure you're very proud of that one.
Kyrgios being the voice of reason in modern tennis right
Yes.
now. I thought it was our kind host, the Batuta Advocate, the beautiful little thing they ran yesterday, because Djokovic inadvertently hit the lines person with
in the throat.
and they said unusual to see Novak Djokovic expressing a concern for someone with respiratory problems, given his position on coronavirus.
He's feeling sad and
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah.
If I may, my partner went to SWOW, School Without Walls.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you never actually knew someone from SWOW,
SWOW.
but if you met them, you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
what's up?
I think
man?
the first
Yeah.
activity
Mike
was
Titans fans.
They went to the creek and everybody was nude. That's how they roll down there.
It is, and then sort of Narrabundah College was your arty types, your sort of future Edmund
Yeah,
Capons.
a little space of Nimbin in Canberra.
So you're talking about a bunch of high school
what
students
I wanna
at
say
school
is-
nude. I can't see any problem with that whatsoever.
Okay, Canberra, gee whiz, here
Yeah.
we go. One day I'll talk about Wahroonga or Avalon or wherever I came from, but we won't bore you with that right now. Now, look, there was talk about 13 minutes that shook the world. There was literally 1 second that unravelled rugby league last weekend when Chad Townsend decided to project himself. Now, that was exo set, not exit, right?
That was excellent. My question now, I want to run a book on who's going to say it. There is a phrase that's going to be said in the next few minutes. I just want to see who says it. No, I'm not going to say it.
Like I say, okay.
I think I know where we're going with this. So, yeah.
Now, that was a pretty, I thought, pretty shocking moment. I mean, we're trying to protect players from, head clashes. I mean, having said that, I still watched Tim Zoo recently bash somebody else's head,
And enjoyed it.
But Ponga looked very relaxed, he's just trotting up. And as you said, the melon, it didn't quite get the full hit, but it certainly shook a number of degrees.
So there was a lot of discussion about whether... So what happened was, of course, the referee Cummins had sort of decided that they needed to restart the 20-minute restart, if that makes sense. So he's blown the whistle, and what does Ponga do when the whistle is blown?
Stops.
Relaxes.
And what is the worst thing you can do on a rugby league field?
Relax.
And Townsend was trying to do, something for the boys, lift the team. And there's a lot of concern about the following things. First of all, what was that object flying out? And people
Was
thought,
that his teeth?
No, it
Mouth guard.
was a piece of wadding from the earlier knock he got,
Is that
which
right?
broke his
Yeah.
nose. So,
It was just shoved up his nose and just fell
so the
out.
first thing we need to remember that the broken nose from Kalen Ponga was not caused by Chad Townsend.
Right.
The second thing was there contact melon on melon?
No.
And both players denied it, but that's because they're maintaining the fiction because they're trying to protect the most important thing in this matter, Chad Townsend's haircut. So basically, Townsend's hair contacted
Well,
Ponga.
Yeah, when Cummins come up, he just said, look, I've had enough. It's not even a mullet off.
Exactly.
That's it. 3 weeks minimum.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a mullet. They're cool racing stripes.
Do you remember when he had a sort of a rockabilly, like, went up? He
Yeah.
sort of looked like some
And
sort
it was
of...
so firm.
Yeah, Billy
It
Fury
was like this
style,
microphone thing. It was
Eddie
like that.
Cochran, you
Yeah.
know. And then he gets this little thing that comes forward like a hedgehog died.
Look,
it's just weird.
Basically, what Cummins was
shaves the
saying,
sides.
basically all males, we're sick of you guys that have got fantastic hair. And he just conflated what was probably, a report in the sin bin into a send-off, exacting revenge on Chad Townsend for being beautifully coiffed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is that
and
what it
you know
is?
what? As somebody who doesn't have hair, I find it grossly insulting that you would insult other people without it by growing that kind of
That
100%.
kind of hair.
Honestly.
And then the Cronulla powers the be. Chad goes, I want to fight this because it's 3 weeks off and we've got to drive to the finals. And the Cronulla power brokers had a look and said, no, what, son, you can actually cop your punishment because we're sick of the hair as well. And don't be surprised if Townsend comes back freshly shaven and having learned his lesson.
Yeah.
He's not going to go to the Kick-Our hairdresser and just get
They'll
a...
I, for one, am dancing on their grave. See you later, Cronulla, right? But there was a statement, of course. He did talk to the press ad nauseum, and he said, I'm not a grub. It's not my go.
Not my go.
There it is.
No,
It's
yeah.
taken 2 minutes. It's taken 2 minutes.
Everyone take a drink.
We relax now. We've done our business here.
We've relaxed. You can't do that in rugby league.
And he, in an online interview, he was, on a Zoom call, he apologised to the fans and his teammates, but not his family.
Not his family, his partner, his
No.
kids. or
What about
anything.
the
No,
kids?
no.
Because
Nephew.
on the atrocity level, it's mid-range.
Mid-range.
We don't have the meter here.
I'll bring that one in.
I've got the coffee cup. I'll bring the coffee cup in.
Now, Chris, we may have got it all wrong. Dennis, Dave, we thought the inspiration for this year, for the big lift in rugby league was the Overlord himself, PVL. In actual fact, the power behind the throne, the man of inspiration, the man that follows the lessons of Nelson Mandela, Andrew Abdo, is really the guiding light that has ignited the rugby league competition in 2020 when everything else failed for us.
You know the old expression, Stephen, behind every great man there's an accountant.
There is indeed.
Yeah.
Money or law, it's one or the
Yeah.
other. Which side are you on?
And Andrew Abdo, who's finally, though he did a little cameo on Q&A, which is on the ABC, which no one watches, so they wouldn't have seen it. He's actually emerged from the cocoon yesterday on NRL 360. And he's trying to not, blow his own trumpet and come out all guns blazing as he eases himself into the role.
Yeah.
He just simply wanted to say, I'm not a yes man and I'm not a rollover. In other words, PVL can't push me around.
No.
And he said, I'm pretty passionate and I'm pretty competitive.
You might forget that's what Nelson Mandela said when he walked out of jail. I'm pretty passionate, I'm pretty competitive, and I'm pretty happy to be out.
Well, Abdo, his first quote was a Nelson Mandela quote about the glory of sport, etc., etc. So he's been, can I say he's sort of keeping within his own lane right now?
And you say he was pretty happy with the Cayman Islands financial institutions.
Because he worked for Deloitte, was it?
Deloitte.
See,
The newly named Deloitte.
As I said,
Accounting, yeah.
a global organisation's campaign awareness has not really campaign not really sheeting home. And of course, he also said the transactions I conducted in Bermuda, I'm very comfortable with them. And you asked me what defines a passionate accountant. I said it's someone who doesn't use pen, they use highlighter.
Exactly. And I'm pretty excited, right? Because as the chief accountant of Rugby League and the NRL boss, they're cutting costs, right?
So-
$80 million worth, right? Now, they've got a big...
50.
50?
It's only 50.
I thought it was 80.
No, it's 50.
Whatever. They're not cutting the entertainment, though, are they?
No.
Chris?
Last night, Abdo was interviewed because this was the first searing question asked by
Yeah.
the Fox League panel. Okay, you've got to say $50 million. How are you going to do that? And we got a little bit of palaver. And then, of course, we know there's been two heads that have rolling.
Lizzie Deegan.
Leslie Deegan.
Deegs.
Corporate Affairs Manager at the NRL.
Yep.
Nick Weeks, NRL Atrocities Officer.
Yes.
Yep.
Is he got a T-shirt yet and a cup? Atrocity meter?
We should get a revised version with Nick Weeks on the...
Just so you can relive the moment.
And that saves about $1 million per year. So there's 49 million to go. So they said, well, come on, Andrew. Where's now the 49 million?
It's probably with the 999 million ratings that we haven't actually accounted for yet for the roof for Sonny Bill Williams 13 minutes.
The night of 1,000 cuts. What's happened, Chris?
So he brought out his papers. He sort of did this with them on screen. He goes, we've done the research about the impact of game day music, particularly at the semi-finals and grand finals. He said, as far as I can tell, DJing is just pressing buttons.
Just pressing play on iTunes.
Anyone could do that.
Highway to Hell, out.
Yeah. There is no way you'll be hearing Earth, Wind and Fire as they pack a scrum at this year's grand final. They are slashing game day
And
entertainment.
as Cam Munster
Goodbye,
said to the bin
Stephen
for the
Ferris.
second time, we won't be getting Hit the Road Jack.
The Road Jack, yeah. And what about Henry Mancini? He's out too?
That's right.
I mean, I looked through the playlist and he was playing this band called the Ram Ones.
That's right. Yeah.
The Ram ones.
Ram ones,
Nice.
Yeah.
He said, Stephen Ferris, you can take an elephant walk.
And how much is that worth to them?
That saved about $7 million.
7 mil. Just like
So
that.
they're well on the way.
Oh dear. Sad days ahead. Well, we talked about this split culture wars and who's on the left, who's on the right, who's conservative, who's not, tinfoils versus, freedom fighters. And you're telling me during the week that Fox and Nine are at war with each other. Is that right?
They're always at war
News
with each
Corp
other.
and Nine.
And the Griffin thing is the latest matter.
Right.
But it's also, it's an issue of...
What kicked this off? Who's behind this?
It's sort of like the old dispute in the old former republics of Yugoslavia. It's just too.
Yeah,
It goes back centuries.
It's like Australia and New Zealand. We're so similar, we fight each other, right? Like brothers, you know. Yeah.
Fairfax, Packer,
They move
Cats,
back,
Dogs.
Trouble in the
back,
Balkans.
back, yeah.
Who knows?
Same colours.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But basically, it becomes a war for talent, and it's commentators' war writ large. So who do you follow? Who do you listen to?
Right.
And Fox League seems to definitely have each year a target that people don't like.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it'd be Blocker Roach, who you said reminds you very much of.
Well, when I hear Cooper Cronk, I think it's Blocker Roach. Beautiful tone. I mean, let's face it, Golden Tonsil's not.
And the content the same?
No.
No.
It's a bit different for Cooper as opposed to Blocker. Like Cooper actually has 26 letters in his alphabet as opposed to Blocker's 25. Talking, walking, thinking.
Yes.
There's no G
And
anywhere.
also, Blocker the other day, I just can't remember which game, you can help me out here, where the big men tire and the little men run. The fast men go, the slow men don't. It was all about you're either big, slow, lumbering, or you're fast, quick, and small. And that was his analysis. That was the detail. That's all it was.
So he doesn't
And I
understand the
look
bell
across the
curve of
table,
weight.
And you look at
There's no spectrum.
Why hasn't George Illawarra appointed Blocker their coach? He seems to know footy.
Yeah.
Then last year, of course, it was
You got me there.
It was manufactured commentator Matt Nable, former first grader and esteemed actor, and he just
What does he
copped
play again? Cops? Criminals?
Oh, he's good as
Footy
Anthony
players.
Parrish's
Footy
underbelly.
players. Cops?
Yeah, and he just copped a bucketing. He used to say found his front a lot in his commentary. So he's now doing these intercinine, if that's a word.
Say that again.
Intercinine preambles promoting. Sometimes he only promotes one player. So I watched 6 minutes of Matt Nable doing this promo on Kalen Ponga, and I thought, well, they've got some searching one-on-one interview coming up. And I know it was Newcastle playing the Gold Coast, right?
Yeah.
And they're sort of Churchillian in their ambit and ambition.
Yeah.
So we've lost him as a commentator. So who do we all dislike now, boys?
Well, I've always disliked him.
Go on.
Braith.
Why? Balmain Braith. Sorry, Bondi Braith. I mean
he's-
Belmore Braith.
Because he's superfluous.
Is that because you're a doctor and you're jealous?
He's just so superfluous.
Yeah.
Dave?
Look, who's fat at the moment, or what?
Well, you not a Braith fan?
I'm kind of ambivalent about Braith, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm unfortunately married to a woman who talks about don't be negative about things, so I'm going to be negative about it. No, for me, it's Blocker at the moment.
Yeah, me too.
It's the double whammy of going
very thin.
turning a Raiders game on, and potentially if it's against the Tigers, and it's like I'm in for 80 minutes about he's going to whinge about the 89 grand final.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I bring up the 89 grand final?
I'm personally more than happy to hear him whinge about the 89 grand. I could listen
That's
to
cool. We
Blocker
can do an
whinge about
extended
it.
edition today. I can go for 3 hours.
And so-and-so team has to score next.
Have to score next.
Can I
Yeah.
just say 1989 is a long time ago. 1994 is less time ago.
2005.
Much more recent.
Yeah. There we go.
So nothing of 2010.
Let's
Sorry,
not-
don't we want to talk about 1969 if we're going to be technical in that situation?
Let's not confine it just to the game callers. What about the on-air talent as well. So we could bring in Vonnie. We could bring in. We all love Vonnie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, more Vonnie, more Megan Barnard, more Lara Pitt, as far as I'm concerned.
Megan Barnard is an emerging star.
It is, but insightful, fantastic reporting, great, actually having them like Kelly Underwood back in the AFL in the same way. Like, sort of having those women involved in the commentary is a preference.
Who are those 4 men that sit around a table?
Oh, the NRL 360.
Crawley?
Yep.
Crawls.
You got Buzz, you got
His
Hoops,
goal
you
is
got
the bloke.
Kenny. Yeah, Reedy occasionally. By the way, can I just simply say, you know how we all reminisce about our childhood and like Freddo Frogs were bigger and there were more chips in the packet? Channel 9's got this habit on the Sunday footy show now of getting the four Sterlo and the 3 journos for inside the 10 and starting the clock at 8 minutes. You're not even getting 10 minutes anymore. You have a look next time. Well, that is a rip-off.
60 minutes runs for 40 minutes.
Yeah, you remember the packets used to be full, the chip packets.
That's right.
Chris is there like 3 quarters.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cynical.
Well, that's media cost cutting. I don't know what to tell you about that.
Your boy Mick Ennis is pretty good, I think, because he's your boy.
Mick Ennis, has a touch of for those who follow NFL, like a touch of the Tony Romos about him. His ability to predict. Same with Cooper Cronk. And
I'm not so sure about Cooper Cronk.
Why is that?
Because I find he struggles so hard to try and put big words in that he kind of gets lost.
Yes.
I think it's maybe the nose is part of the problem.
He's trying to sound like Jane Austen. And you can't get a Jane Austen speech out quickly.
Yeah. Can I just say, to wrap this up, there's stiff competition, though. You say these two, News Corp and Nine, are battling it out against each other, big media warfare.
Huge.
Never happened before. Hang on.
Creeping up, of course, is Friday mornings.
Yes, on the Radio Wars.
What's the battle there, Chris?
So I have a look at Dave, who we really enjoyed having on Quiet Australia today, and I look at Denis, who was here. And
did you enjoy that?
Yeah. and I look at both of you and you go, you're 2CH listeners. You like your easy listening. You don't want to be challenged musically. Well, I've got bad news for you guys.
Huge Bob Rogers fan.
Right, Rogers, the perennial Bob Rogers.
Yeah.
Well, I've got bad news for you boys. 2CH is off the radio dial in a few weeks. It's going to go digital only. There's 20,000 of you apparently, and the little station that could from Melbourne, I think it stands, the acronym SEN stands for Sports Entertainment Network, I think.
Okay, they're branching out into rugby league.
They've acquired...
Who's the talent?
1107, the talent, Vossi.
Vossi.
Katie, the NRL journos.
And let's say happy birthday to Vossi for yesterday.
Yeah, Katie Brown.
Happy birthday, Vossi.
Katie Brown from NRL.com.
Katie Brown from NRL.com.
Who, if I dare say, comes with enormous raps.
Right. Joel Kane.
Sugar.
Our very good mate, Jimmy Smith.
Yep. Joel Kane, who was, of course, did he play 2005, I believe?
Gee, they've done a Rupert Murdoch.
Jimmy Smith.
Scooped up the talent.
Jimmy Smith, who's
So
big fan of the show. But they've announced a huge queue just recently, Stephen.
And it's Friday morning.
Friday morning, 9 till 12.
Is he got some guts, has he?
Matty Johns.
Matty Johnson's going up against Fire Up.
He's going up against Fire Up.
Wow,
So
how dare him.
The
Good
media...
luck to you, Matty.
Let him try.
I mean, it's craziness on SEN's part.
Yeah.
And they really should give us a gig because it's a classic pincer movement because you've got Fire Up coming at Matty from
That's
one
the Grey
angle.
Wall, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1914 to 18. And on the other angle, you've got, the old Ottoman Empire himself, Ray Hadley.
Yes.
And Hadley says, if Johns gets within 10 ratings points of me, I'll retire.
All right.
Because we'll be sucking listeners away from Matty Johns, I'm prepared to do a deal with SEN Radio.
This is like the Liberal National Party.
Correct.
Like the Greens should do with the Labor
You know
Party.
what? Splitting the votes.
We are the
Splitting
Nationals.
Right.
We're
So
the
we're going to
Nationals.
stick with Matty Johns.
I've been speaking to the likes of Doug Anthony and saying we are prepared to go off the air to give our preference listeners to Matty Johns.
Yes.
If that galvanises
10 points.
less than 10 rating points, goodbye Ray Hadley.
That'd be wonderful.
Wow.
Because we've outlasted many, haven't we, Chris?
It would be our parting legacies.
It would be amazing. That's right.
Machiavelli has nothing on you two.
And on that wonderful note, that beautiful rugby league note, I live with no hope whatsoever. Chris, you're still fighting to stay alive?
I can walk you through it, but I won't. But yes, all we need this weekend, Warriors beat Sharks, we beat the Rabbits. Hello, Redfern Pat. And we keep on living.
Okay. Denis, Dave, thanks for coming. Great album. We'll have a full-blown 12-inch version next week to show everybody.
Sure.
Okie dokie. See you, Chris.
Goodbye, Stephen.
Bye-bye.